Okay, we're back again with another video. This time it's the 8000C. Last time we made a video of the 8000A and I got a lot of good feedback, so I'm going to do the same thing for the updated model, which is the 8000C. You can see it's basically a whole new machine, even though it's just a letter there difference. It doesn't look like it shares much with the last machine, the 8000A. It's a full touchscreen. Gotta unlock it here first. It's a full touchscreen, so that's cool. It's a basic single needle tailor's machine. I shouldn't have said basic because it's automatic, so that's pretty cool. Also, one other thing that it has that the 8000A didn't have is this like really light electronic foot lifter. I don't know if I can get it both in the shot, but it's pretty cool. I can do it with my pinky finger. And it's really light. That way you can really dial in how high you want it to be, just like you can with like a manual knee lifter. Same reason people do like manual knee lifters, whereas with the pedal lift it's just one single height. Okay, but you can dial it in with this, so that's cool. Thread tension is the same as normal. You have a reverse button here and you have needle position here. Mostly this is going to be about the screen and how to use the screen, so let's dive into that. Here is your type of sewing. Okay, so for most sewing it's going to be on this symbol. Okay, you have 4 different symbols, I think. You have, every time you use the screen you got to unlock it here. There might be a parameter that I haven't found to keep it unlocked, but essentially you have your tacking mode, your counted stitches mode, and then your custom pitch. Okay, and that's for like fancy design work. So here, back on the normal stitching mode. Okay, so that's where you're going to be doing most of your work. You can turn on and off the thread trimming. You can turn on and off the foot lifting after you stop or after you cut. You can turn off on and off the foot lifting at all with the pedal. So right now I can press backwards on the pedal and the foot will lift. If I click that off, then I'm trying to do the same thing and it's not working, which is nice, because if you want to solely rely on the knee lifter, that is a possibility. Okay, so you can turn that on and off depending on what you're used to. So some people will be used to the pedal, some people will be used to the knee lifter. This is to set up a custom condensation stitch at the beginning and end of your sewing. And then this is to turn on and off the slow start. So I've set mine to be 400 RPM at the beginning and then shoot up, okay? Back to normal sewing speed. Here you have your back tacks. The front is always A and B, and the back is always C and D. You can touch these to double them. You can have them off, a single, a double is standard, and then like quadruple. All right, and then you can do that for both. All right, and then just like the 8000 and the 9000 and many other machines, you have your numbers here. Okay, so AB is your front back tack, and you can go 4. Oh, let's do something different. 5 and 5 on the front. So that's 5 stitches forward, 5 stitches back. And then you can do something small on the back side, on the very end of your seam. Let's do 3 and 3. Okay? Down here you have your thread clamp. That's this device here. That'll make it so that either the tail is on the top side of your work to be trimmed, or it gets sewn in on the bottom and creates the little bird's nest. Okay? So for things that are going to get folded over and you're never going to see the back side, you're going to use it one way where it makes the ugly nest on the back, and then for other items that are going to need to be seen from both sides, you can use the thread clamp option where it keeps it a long tail on the top like this, and then you can trim it manually, and you're going to have a lot nicer edge right there. Okay, or not edge, start. And then you have these options here down at the kind of like middle bottom. This is your cut counter, your piece counter. Right now it's set to cut. Every time you sew a seam and then cut the thread, it'll count. Next one's going to be 125. This is your speed. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is your stitch size because you no longer have a manual stitch size selector, which is actually a good thing. I'll explain why in a little bit. And then this is your foot height. So if I click on any one of these, you can see this little bar at the bottom moves along with it. And so then if I can use the plus and minus to go up and down on the stitch size. The nice thing here is like you can have, it can be so accurate as to have like a 4.3, which is pretty amazing, right? Opposed to just with a stitch dial, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got to kind of guess. You can know exactly what it is here. And then here you have the foot height. So when I lift this, it's not very high, but if I raise, that's at 75. If I raise this all the way to maximum, which is I think 140, bear with me. Okay, that's maximum. Now you can see the foot height is way more. So that's what that is. And then lastly, this button here is your settings. This is where you change your parameters from. The nice thing now is instead of just having a legend in the book that you have to go and read, they've broken it up into categories. So one example is the soft start setting. I changed this number to 400 and I made it 4 stitches. Originally it was only 2. The first stitch was at 400. If we go to the next page, the second stitch was at 1,000. And then it would go to 3,000, which is what the machine is set to. But I told it to do 3 stitches at $400 RPM, a piece, and then go to full speed. And then you just save it. You can reset it. I don't know what latch is. I haven't figured that part out yet. And I guess there's a home button here to get you back here straight away. I don't think I spoke about this. So this is your condensation stitch. If you want to switch off your back tacks and do condensation stitching, you can have it on the front, the back, or on both. You can use that. There's a automatic condensation, or you can use the custom one and set this one up yourself. And you can input how many condensation stitches on the front and the back. Okay, I haven't done much of that yet. And then lastly, you can choose the needle position here. So that's in the needle down position, and that's the needle up position. So let's see some of these in working order. So first of all, I'm gonna start with just your regular back tacks, normal. Okay, obviously it has thread trim. I'm going to change this to more realistic 3 and 3, and then I also don't want a giant stitch. That was way too big. So let's go to 2.8, let's say. Okay. Much easier to control. Okay, so I have my back tacks on the front and the back, and I do not have condensation stitching on. If I double this, oh, it's gotten locked again. I'm going to have twice as many stitches. And then I have, so that's the original, which was just forward and back. Now it's forward, back, forward, back. You can see it's a little bit more stitches there. That's an example here. Okay. Now let's move on. I'm going to go to the tacking mode, which just like the 9000 had, you can choose the amount of times it goes back and forth. Essentially, all it's doing is one giant back tack. You can see here all the letters and all the different things you can set. But just to keep this simple, I always like to use the example of a label going in. It just goes forward and back. My foot doesn't ever leave the pedal. It automatically goes forward and back and then just stops. So like if you wanted to attach just a quick little label, you could do that, all right? Or just like tack something in place, you could make a much smaller tack that didn't go back and forth too many times, and then it could just hold something in place, which is going to be sewn properly later. And then the next thing is your sides. Okay, so this is going to count all the sides of your stitching. So, for example, if you're doing a label, it automatically stopped there. I'm going to actually make it in the down position. I'm going to stop that and start again because I need to be in the down position. So it stops. I lift my foot, turn the work. It counts 8 stitches and then goes back to 12 and then turn and then goes back to 8 stitches. And there I have almost a perfect label. Okay, so each time, this is program number 4. It's got 4 steps in the program. This is step 2. If I go to step 1, I will see a different number here. It's got 12 stitches. Okay, again, and now because it's digital stitching, I can play with the stitch size on each one of those steps, which is really cool that you would not be able to do if you had a regular manual dial. So you can play with that to make patterns, and you can have many different sides. It doesn't have to be 4 sides. It could be 20 sides. So it could be a really complex shape. And then lastly, this is like the really cool thing about the digital pitch. It can do patterns. So it can go forward, back, and straight, forward, back. And I'll just show you a couple of these. So here's pattern number 1. Okay. So this one just looks like it goes back and forth a bunch of times, and it ends up looking like really big stitches, like really thick ones. If I go to program number 2, so you can see it. You can play around and you can get these like kind of patterns in them. It's really neat. So let's do a third one. And they'll have different amounts of stitches. That one's pretty much the same. But yeah, there's a whole bunch pre-programmed in, and I've probably messed with a couple of them. Yeah, that one's messed up. This one's a bit different. It's longer. You can see there's a bunch of stitches in between before it goes back and forth couple times. So yeah, point is you can make these like really, this is called custom pitch, and that's why it's called CP. Okay, so that's really neat, and one of the major advantages of having a digital stitch pitch. You still have your manual reverse button. If I go here, back to the standard stitching, you still have manual reverse. Well, it's actually digital, but you get the point. I can control it, right? And then lastly is your needle position. So if I want to bring the needle up, oh, I'm a little bit high. If you kind of do a half touch, you do a half stitch, and if you push it in all the way, you can do a full stitch. Okay? And then of course you have your manual lever as well. Your USB can charge your phone while you're sewing at your machine, and that's basically it. So that's the 8000C. Enjoy.